All right, we are live. Welcome everybody to Sheba's Spice Rack. I am Sex Posse Sheba, and I am here with a very, very special guest. Our guest on episode 7 is Deborah Kat. Welcome, Deborah.
Hello, and thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
It is Deborah. Is it Deborah or Deborah?
Well, let's go with Deborah. I was originally a Deborah, but yeah. Only my mom called me that, and only when I was in trouble.
Well, welcome to Sheba's Spice Rack. This is a sex talk show going over sex, kinks, dating, so many fun topics. And today we are going to talk a little bit about everything, but mainly we're going to talk about some of the offerings that Deborah Kat offers. Bondassage is one of them. So you are known as the pleasure CEO, is that correct?
That is true. And I took that on after working with a mentor in the area of female pleasure. And there was a day when we were talking about, like, how do we do our businesses? And, you know, how do we bring pleasure into everything we do? And it was like, the question was something like, if you were the pleasure CEO of your business, what would it look like? And there's something about that like I just got goosebumps, and I was like, that's it.
Ooh, yes, I love it.
That's
and
it.
you're kind of near Silicon Valley, right? You're in Northern California.
That's true. I am in Santa Cruz, California, is where I live, by the beach. And I have an office smack dab in the middle of Silicon Valley in Menlo Park. So yes, we are in Silicon.
Oh, I bet you just like feel the vibrations from like all the people over the hill, like all the businessmen. They're like, I need a pleasure CEO.
I do hope that when they're done working with me, they bring a little bit more pleasure into their CEO.
Yeah, I think that so many people need coaches in their life. So you are a certified Tantric educator, a Bondassage trainer, and an Orgasmic Meditation desire coach. And so give us like a little taste of some of the things that you are offering to clients. And we can just start with Bondassage, which is something that I've heard so much about, and I just love, I love sensual massage, and I love kinks. And so I just feel like it's such a juicy little thing that people should know about.
Yeah, absolutely. If those are things you are interested in, then Bondassage is for you. So I'm super lucky. My dear friend Jaylene is the one who created it. And it's basically a series that takes you from having a conversation about what you want to experience through lots of ups and downs to a crescendo of sorts, and then how to bring somebody down and to hold them in that space, and to, you know, have them in a space where they can go back out into the world integrated. And so what's really great about it is you can be as corporal or as stern or as soft and sensual as you want, but following this, following the sequence, you get a similar result every time, right? So, you know, for instance, in massage, you generally have a sequence, right? You start off on the back, you do the feet, you turn over, you know, the person gets up and they're like blissed out. And imagine that with a kinkier, more erotic flair to it. So, you know, there's 3 components to it. There is the bondage or the restraint piece. That could mean, that could mean just predicament bondage. And what I mean by that is, you know, put your hands on your head and sit there and don't move.
Okay.
right? So there's nothing actually holding you there except your desire to make me happy. And then there is, kind of more restraint, which could be like cuffs and you're just tied down. Or if you're somebody who really enjoys, tight, confining bondage, that can also be part of the play. So that's the bondage part.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the massage part or the touch part. And again, that can be, smooth and sensual and slow, or it can be, sharp and staccato. But there's that piece to it. You can use just the palms of your hand, or you can use your whole body. So that's kind of the massage part. And then,
that sounds so hot. And so do you go over with clients like to know exactly what kind of style they want? Kind of like when you're in a massage and you ask like, what kind of pressure do you want? Like, are they saying like, I want to be restrained? Like,
yeah. So actually the magic question is, how do you want to feel when you get up off the table?
That's beautiful.
So if what you want to feel is, let's say you want to feel loved, it's going to be one kind of massage or one kind of experience. If you want to feel excited, it's going to be another kind of experience. If you want to feel surrendered, it's going to be another kind of experience. But that's where I always start is, how do you want to feel when you get up off the table? Because that really gives me the opportunity to like, basically customize whatever it is I'm doing. And, just because all of these things are possible doesn't mean it's all going to happen in one experience.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then just to finish off the last piece, the sensory deprivation piece, it can be blindfolds. It could be just being told to keep your eyes closed. It can be headphones, or it can be earplugs. But when we take away or, either augment or reduce the sensual input or exploit, it really allows the person who's experiencing the Bondassage to have a deeper experience of that.
Oh, I love that. And it really helps probably to be in the body. Like whenever I have a blindfold on, it just like forces me to like focus in on like every sensation. So I can imagine that enhances the experience.
Absolutely. It's funny. I was on an event for something, and somebody asked me what my favorite sex toy was. And I was like, oh, it's a blindfold. And because it does just that. It's actually, it allows a person to go in. I always like to say, that, when I close my eyes, no one can see me. And what I love about that is it allows for like, in sex, we often have a whole lot of focus about, what do I look like? Or what is my partner thinking? Or, how is this transmitting out? And when you put a blindfold on somebody, it really takes it really takes some of that out of the equation, right? Like for whatever reason, that part of the brain shuts down. So yeah, so a blindfold is kind of a magical thing. It also, heightens the sense of smell, the sense of touch, the sense of taste, the sense of hearing. And all of those parts are, I like to bring it all in.
Yeah, I'm sure that the clients you work with just love it. Do people have a really good experience and often come back and refer out?
Absolutely. So mostly I work with couples, teaching them like how to do unto each other, if you will.
Yes.
But more importantly, what I find is teaching them how to receive. We're so often a client comes to me and they want to learn techniques and they want to learn how to do. And what I feel like I bring to the table that's a little bit different is where we start is receiving. Like, what does it feel like when when you ask for something and you actually get it? And can you receive it? It's really funny. Today I made a request that was super edgy for me. And I asked for something that I wanted that's definitely on my edge. And so then I was in the shower, the place of all great ideas, and I was like, oh my God, if they say yes, it's gonna happen.
I have to receive it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I asked for a photo shoot from one of my favorite photographers.
Ooh.
Super, and the whole photography thing is super edgy for me. So I was like, this is what I want. And I sent off the email and I haven't looked yet. And I haven't looked since. So I don't know. But yeah, so
Photo shoots are so fun. I'm a pinup model myself, and I have been modeling for like 10 plus years, and it's definitely a different experience every time, but it can be so delicious to do photo shoots with my partner, and that's definitely one of my love languages, is creating content and having fun, kind of letting loose and being creative in that way. And I definitely recommend it when I work with clients too, because it's a way for them to play. And that's like my favorite thing, is just encouraging people to have fun and make sex about just like kind of exploring creatively and kind of letting go. And so I can see like photo shoots are edgy, because I've had so many different types. I did a really edgy shoot just last night, and it's like every time I get to practice learning new things about myself, and putting yourself out there and in different ways.
yeah, it's funny. So I was looking through some old photos and I found my high school pictures, and I had submitted. So when I graduated, it was in the 80s. And basically I had this photo taken for the high school yearbook, and it was me in a tux. And
oh, I love that. I love that so much.
well, here's the funny thing, like, it didn't occur to me that they would say no, but it was at a time when that just wouldn't, it didn't fly, essentially.
Yeah.
So one of the things I was thinking is like, on the one side, like, wow, we've come a long way in some ways and not so far in others. But it was just really funny to be like, oh, wow, this is who I was.
Yeah.
And there's something about that picture that just, it was like, oh, that was me at 18,
So are you recreating?
That's a great idea. I hadn't thought about that.
Ooh, see, because I had a friend who in high school, same thing, like she wanted to wear a tux, and the high school that we went to were very like, no, you can't do that. And I think she ended up doing the photos anyway, but that wasn't the one that was selected for the yearbook. But I just recently did a little gender bending at an art exhibit that was called Androgyny. And like it's the second time that I've done dressing up like in my masculine energy. And the other time was at a drag show. And it's very different. And it just like, it feels like so exciting to explore like different sides of yourself. And I just love, I'm a huge fan of butches. And whenever I see a beautiful butch in a suit, it's just very exciting to me. And I would love, like, there's so many amazing tailors now that do really beautiful suits for women and for female identified bodies. So I think it would be really hot if you did a shoot in a tuxedo.
Yeah, that, I hadn't thought about it, but that's totally a possibility. And it's funny, as you were saying that, I was thinking, so the same mentor I worked with who came up with Pleasure CEO, one of the things that she does in her workshops is she has a day where we would dress up in our masculine. And what was super fascinating about
That's so hot, Deborah. I love this so much.
shout out to Christina Morassi, because it's brilliant, and it's brilliant what would happen to people, or what would happen, because it was an all female identified course. And so what would happen was, they're not only did they learn something about their own masculine, but they're also, they got to have a little bit more compassion, for the stories they have about the men in their lives.
I love that. And like, I don't know about you, but like the movie Working Girl like had such an impact on me, like when I was a young woman. And like I love the idea of like power suits. Like I feel like every woman needs to have like a photo shoot and like a power suit and like channel that like inner badass. Like I feel like there's a CEO photo shoot coming up for you.
Absolutely. And it's funny too, speaking of that, like one of my favorite scenes in that movie is when her mentor took her in and said, this is what you want to wear and this is how you want to wear it, and just how important mentors are.
Yes. I have an amazing mentor. I'm going to give a shout out to Melissa Davison of Body Joy Intimacy School. And I have a few mentors in my life, but I believe that every coach needs a coach, and, it's so important to like learn from each other.
Absolutely.
So, back to the business. So, tell me about what orgasmic meditation looks like. So do you have clients that come to you and are just like, I am meditating, but I need something new and sexy and different? Like, how do people find you, and how do they know about this?
So orgasmic meditation is a partnered practice. You've got a finger and a clit, and for 15 minutes, the upper left-hand quadrant of the clit is stroked. And the thing is that it's stroked with no goal, right? So it's not about climax. It's not about, it's about feeling that orgasmic energy, right? And so for the person who is stroking, right? So the person with the finger, what's so powerful is being able to have your finger on the pulse, literally, and to feel that pulse, not just in your finger, but all the way through your body.
Wow.
And for the person with the clit, to have your, this incredibly sensitive place touched in a way that you don't have to do a damn thing but feel is absolutely profound.
Oh, it sounds amazing.
And it's funny because I come from a Tantra background, right?
Yeah.
In Tantra, I love Tantra. It's an amazing practice, and it's a lot of work. There's all this breathing and moving and sounding, and there's always, not always, but there is an escalation factor to it, right? So to be able to take all those things and sort of strip it away to just feeling what's going on in your body and feeling what's going on in that very incredible space, and learn from there how to make a request or to make an offer, or to to be with the sensation is it just reverberates out into so many different places in your life. It's like, if you can be with the discomfort of whatever may be going on in your body, and learn how to regulate in that situation, that incredibly high sensation situation, it gives you so much more power when you are in other situations.
Wow, that is just, everybody needs this. Everybody needs a little bit of this.
Yeah, so I just want to make one caveat, and
Mhm.
that is that the practice is a complete practice in and of itself. It's not about escalating to sex. It's not about, it's basically, if your body is an instrument, this is the scales, right? This is learning how to play and be with your body.
And it's so, I think that's so relaxing to have the goal taken off the table and for people just to be in that intimacy too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And depending on how you practice, it can be with a monogamous partner. It can be practiced with somebody that is not romantic, is not necessarily sexual, but just that's the practice that you have together.
And what are some of the outcomes like from couples that you've worked with? Like, do they just have amazing clarity and connection?
Well, I think, for the clit oriented people, one of the most powerful things I've seen is their ability to make a correction, or a lot of times, one of the stories that I find with that we hear a lot around sex, when I ask people, like, well, so who's it for and how do we do this? It's like women, have this tendency to put a lot of the, like, to outsource a lot of their pleasure, right? So my partner's going to know how to touch me. I'm not going to have to ask for it. I'm not going to have to know myself. My partner's just going to show up and he's going to be like Wondercock, and he's going to be able to, or, to know what to do to me.
Yeah.
Right. And if you think about it, I mean, I was a big tacky romance reader, right? And that's exactly what happened in the tacky romances. The women were never responsible for their own sexuality. They never had an idea of their own sexuality.
That's such a good point.
And so for but going back to orgasmic meditation, it gives women a chance to say a little to the left, a little to the right, more pressure, less pressure, and to be able to do it in a way that is just straightforward. Like, you're not wrong because you don't know what I want, right?
Yep, it's just like, call it out, call it out, and it's like just like navigating.
Exactly. And then for the men, for the strokers, right, they get to hear a little to the left without going down the shame spiral of I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so when you can do that in an orgasmic meditation, when your partner says, I need you to do the dishes more, or whatever that request is, and the other person can hear it with, like, oh, they've got a request, versus they've got a request, and what that means about me is I didn't do something right, and
Yeah.
so it's like there's that is one of the most profound things that come out of it.
Yeah, it's like a freedom.
Exactly. And I'm obviously super turned on about this, and I'm obviously very passionate about this. So, I mean, because there's so many things, and just, I mean, in my own life, my ability to regulate my own nervous system and to be able to be cleaner and clearer with my partner about what was mine and what was not mine.
And I think people also, they need to hear that, like, it's so okay to give direction. And like a lot of people, like, they do either have that preconceived notion that someone's just going to know how to give them orgasms, or someone's just going to know how to touch them, and the reality is that everybody's body is different, and it's totally okay to talk during sex and to let out things we want. And like the funny thing is sometimes I find that voice, like your voice during sex, is so it's so vulnerable to so many people that it's hard for them to just say simple things like up, right, left, harder. But at the same time, it's so exciting for the other person. Like they want to get you off. They want you to have an orgasm. They want you to feel immense pleasure. And so it's just like having the conversation around that dynamic is so freeing. It's like, yes, let's say more. Let's bring that in.
Absolutely. And then giving your partner, giving the stroking partner the freedom to say, to make an offer. Do you want this harder? Do you want it to the left? Do you want it to the right? Do you want it, and if you think about it, it's like when you're in a more sexual oriented space, it's like, one of the things I talk to my clients about all the time is, a lot of my male clients will say like, well, I'm confused about what she wants. And so I'm like, well, try making an offer. Would you like me to, lick your clit? Would you like me to squeeze your nipples? Would you like me to bite your neck? And when she says yes, no, maybe, it's not about you.
Yeah.
It's about her, what feels good to that body. And here's another thing. What feels good to that body in this particular moment. Because, here's the thing. It's funny. One of the things that a lot of my male clients are like, yeah, I want to know the like, what do I do first, second, third? It's like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, like there's not a formula for everybody. There's no instruction manual that covers all clitorises. Like it's just everybody's body is different, and that one body ebbs and flows and changes and evolves, and it's like a flow. You got to flow.
Exactly. I mean, I can't tell you how many people have said to me, well, my last boyfriend, my last girlfriend, I did X and she loved it. And it's like, that's awesome. You're not with X anymore. Let's figure out what Y wants.
So I also am dying to know if you could tell me about the Tantra speed dating. I saw that on your website and I'm dying to hear about it.
Yeah. So Tantra website is Tantra speed date is just, it's such a great event. It's an opportunity for men and women. It is heteronormative at this time. We're definitely open to doing things different ways, but so far we found that the majority of our clients are men looking for women or women looking for men. And so it's a great way for them to come together and to experience what it's like to be in each other's presence. And so, what I find is, we often have this list. I need them to be X, Y, and Z. And maybe they are X, Y, and Z, but they feel that it doesn't feel good to be in their presence. Right? It doesn't, so what part of what Tantra Speed Date is about learning how to be discerning by feeling into what is good about this presence. Right? So, and what's super cool is I didn't realize how much joy I get out of bringing people together. But
I know it's definitely one of my kinks too. Like I produce burlesque shows and it's just like so exciting to like bring people together so that they can be stimulated by art. And it's just like bringing people together is such a wonderful feeling. And like you get to bring people together to potentially like meet and like, both people are looking for this certain type of connection, like this deep intimacy, and they can find someone potentially at your events. That's so exciting.
Yeah. And what's beautiful is they find each other in a very different way, right? So they find each other in a way that is more of a conscious sort of feeling way versus the, I like your job, I like your house, I like your shoes.
Right.
And so the criteria is a little bit different, right? So people are like, I'm attracted to this. I had no idea this is what I was going to be attracted to, or this person.
Mm.
And they enter into the relationship in a different place. And so, I've definitely had people who've met and had amazing relationships. I know of at least one couple that got married. I know of a
Oh,
Tantra
wow.
Tantra speed date baby that was, the creator came out of it. But one of my absolute favorite stories is that, I was talking to so a guy came to one of my very first events, and then I hadn't seen him in like 3 years. And then he showed up at another event. We were talking, and he was saying that it was the most conscious and kindest breakup he ever had.
Oh.
And there's something about that that just really touches me, because it's like, it's one thing to be able to fall in love with somebody, in the beginning when they're perfect and,
Right.
we don't know anything about them. But to be able to to carry that through and to consciously and lovingly part was just really, I was really just touched by that. So that's one of my favorite stories.
Oh, that's beautiful. You're doing beautiful work. I am so excited. So, as we come to a close, I want to invite our audience or people seeing this video to be able to find you. So, like, where can people get more information about the work you do?
So the easiest thing to do is find me at my website, which is deborahkat.com, and it is DEBORAH, and it's KAT.com, deborahkat.com.
Amazing. Oh, yep. Keep going. Keep going.
So I'm just about to launch the Better Sex podcast.
Yeah.
And so you can look me up at the Better Sex Podcast.
Is that going to be on your website? Are you going to have a link to it on your website to get to your podcast?
At some point, yes.
Coming soon, more information. But yes, you can also find you on the Facebooks and the Instagrams and all over the interwebs in the social media world.
Absolutely. Either at Deborah Kat or Deborah Tantra Kat. So
wonderful. And do you have anything upcoming that you want to put out, that any events coming up that you're teaching at or workshops?
Well, yeah, actually, it seems like 2022 is going to be a kinky year, because this weekend I will be teaching a class on impact play.
Wonderful.
And my take is a little bit different, as you may thought. So it's really just, it's again about that giving and receiving impact, because we impact people both as we give and as we receive. And so that's coming up this weekend. That's through Love Skills. And then in February, I will be teaching a Bondassage class. And I'm very
Is that virtual or in person?
It's virtual.
That's great. Everybody, it's virtual. So you can, wherever you're tuning in from,
That's true.
Tuning in from the East Coast, West Coast, Spain, anywhere,
Australia,
you can take
exactly
take her amazing workshop.
Yes. And I just want to say, one of the things I do love about virtual is that, yes, we get to be all over the world. And there's something really sweet about being able to be in your own space. If you're in your own space with your partner, you don't necessarily have to have the video on.
Right. Or if you get like super excited to try what you're learning, you can just go do that. But of course, you want to get all the information and go to the workshop all the way through, but you can.
Yeah, and even on screen, even virtual, it is embodied and interactive. So yeah.
Well, I'm so glad that we can virtually connect, and I'm so happy that I got to have you on today. So thank you so much for being a guest on my talk show, Sheba Spice Rack. And thank you everyone for tuning in. You can also see this video on YouTube, and please go and find and follow Deborah Kat. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful birthday too.
Oh, thank you.
I celebrate you. Have a great evening.